Vatican City, Indigenous leaders from Canada and survivors of the country's notorious residential schools meet with Pope Francis starting Monday in hopes of securing a papal apology for abuses committed against them by Catholic priests and school workers. The meetings, postponed from December because of the pandemic, are part of the Canadian Church and government's efforts to respond to Indigenous demands for justice and reparations, long-standing demands that gained traction last year after the discovery of hundreds of unmarked graves outside Samo. In interviews with the Associated Press as they arrived in Rome on Sunday, Indigenous leaders expressed hope that Francis would indeed apologize, though they said their key aim this week is to tell the Pope the stories of their people and the abuses they suffered, and for Francis to listen. Most of the moccasins were being presented as a sign of the willingness of the Métis people to forgive if there is meaningful action from the Church, the group explained in a note. The red dye represents that even though Pope Francis does not wear the traditional red papal shoes, he walks with the legacy of those who came before him, the good, the great and the terrible. Francis has set aside several hours this week to meet privately with the delegations from the First Nation. The delegates then gather Friday as a group for a more formal audience, with Francis delivering an address. More than 150,000 Native children were forced to attend state-funded Christian schools from the 19th century until the 1970s in an effort to isolate them from the influence of their homes and culture, Christianize and assimilate them into mainstream society, which previous governments considered so. The Canadian government has admitted that physical and sexual abuse was rampant, with students beaten for speaking their native languages.